Welcome to the Pump and Dump channel for another weekly update, talking about the usual suspects, natural gas and oil, and also going to take Range Resources to talk about investor sentiment relative to what we saw especially in the oil price today, this big move up, followed by the news of that Iranian general being deleted by the US military. I was actually thinking about talking about IMO 2020 and the shipping stocks because they are very interesting at this point in time, since IMO 2020 has come into effect on the 1st of January and the rates are still strong. But I decided, because of this Iranian news, to talk about oil and gas. And there's also on the chart, there's some interesting things I spotted. Thursday I saw there was this wedge pattern forming when this candlestick was in place. So I saw this wedge pattern, and usually the technical people will say that that's a bearish indicator, meaning it goes lower. But there are some other things that point to me that this bearish indicator at the move, the end of a move down that's been going on since November, might not necessarily be a bearish indicator after all. Of course, that being the first indicator that we are already down from 290 to 210. And then followed by a bearish indicator is not necessarily supportive of thinking that it has to go lower. On the other hand, I talked about Antero Resources and Chesapeake in my previous videos and how they are refusing to fold, and they want to keep producing natural gas and oil if possible, and repay their debt holders, and hope to give their shareholders some more time to flip their stock to other bag holders, and that's kind of what they're doing. So the supply side, that's been known for several weeks now, and that is probably already priced into the natural gas price, that supply is not coming offline. Of course, if you look out on the forward curve, like into 2021, natural gas is trading like 260, 270. It's just the current spot price is really weak, and the producers that have not hedged their production for this year and next year, or at least for this year, they're going to be in trouble having to take these low prices. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for natural gas. Another interesting thing is that if we take this wedge here and we're kind of closing at 211.5, let's say. If we just move over into the trading period for Monday, the 6th of January, it will automatically move us over above this wedge. So there's not much time left to push it back down to 208, let's say, to give that bearish indicator that pushes the price to open below this wedge, and then automatically get the chart people excited about shorting it. I think there's a good possibility that we open here and then we move up, maybe up to 220. Maybe we can go through there. Who really knows? Time will tell. There is not much more to be said, I guess, about it at this point in time. So getting on to oil next, I saw also a wedge here on Thursday. This wedge here I've got. I had talked previously about this head and shoulders forming, and as you can see, we have this big move up instead of a shoulder building here over time. So this is proving that I didn't know what I was talking about, I guess. But yesterday was kind of an indicator, and I didn't spot it, but you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. If you just look at the candlestick here, we were down to $60.60 during the trading period, and then we came back up to 61 and change. And this is the same thing like I talked about here, with us moving outside of this triangle. It did actually move us for Friday outside of the wedge, and then the Iranian general news gave the people a good reason to pump it up to 64, and 64 is kind of where this trend line here caps it off. The trend line, of course, I had it in place for a week. I talked about it because there was this point where it broke through the trend line and then it refused to go down. Yeah, this trend line here, just extending it, just gives us this price target. It's basically how I see it. But I didn't necessarily know that was going to happen, that this was going to lead up. I mean, I was asleep when this this move was happening. An interesting thing, of course, also to look at is that this is a move that's driven by geopolitical news, similar to what we had in September here with the Saudi Aramco news, pushed the oil price from 54, I guess, or 55 to 63, and then it was followed by a sell-off, and then it just rolled over all the way down to 50. And this is really important because this recent history is what the traders, I think, are now thinking about. They're looking at this here, this move up, and they think it's going to be followed by a move down, and then we're going to roll over eventually. And that's kind of what the stock is reflecting here in terms of Range Resources. The stock price on Thursday opened about 485, and then it rolled over all the way down to 437. In terms of following suit with the oil price was down, and the natural gas price was down too, and that kind of justified the move down into the 440s, and then it traded below fair value according to my model. And on the close at 439, it should have, in terms of the value, it was at 452-ish, I think, in my model, and we didn't close at 452, and today we can see here it gapped up to 460, and then it rolled over back down to the lows of yesterday, Thursday, and yeah, at 437 it bottomed, and it's now rebounded back. I think what the stock here is showing is that the investors are skeptical of this move here. They think that this is a similar situation to here, so they're not like really excited about putting their money into Range Resources at this point in time, and they're also probably thinking about this wedge here and natural gas price going lower. So I think there is some hesitation to get into the stock, even though at the current oil and gas prices, the stock, according to my model, is worth back to $5 or so. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for this week. Remember, that's not investment advice or recommendations for you to buy or not to buy this stock. That's up to you. If you have any questions, comments, or opinions to share on this news today and the moves in natural gas, oil, and Range Resources, you can do so in the comments section. If you like this content, don't forget to subscribe, and have a good day.